For those who grew up poor, what did you consider a luxury? Going places during school vacation. The kids would be all like, what? Question mark? Yeah, I've never been to this amusement park. Question mark? No. Trisha. My family doesn't even have a car. Which is another luxury to me. I always felt so stupid when everyone would ask, where did you go this summer? Being allowed to turn on the heat during the winter. And also being able to hire a professional to fix broken appliances, plumbing, etc. I think that's what pushed me to be the jack of all trades type. If something broke, calling a professional was out of the question. Dad would fix it, sometimes shittily, but he'd do it. Definitely those types of experiences that shape you as a person. My mom had 7 children in 10 years, 1950 to 1960. I remember having a whole bottle, those smallish glass ones, that came out of the machine for 10 cents, of soft drink to myself instead of sharing one bottle between all 7 of us. I was perhaps 5 years old. I still remember this as the best thing ever. My mum did the same, but in the 80s. Looking back, I think she had a pregnancy addiction. Life before my 6 siblings and life after were like 2 completely different lifetimes. I remember having stuff when we were very little, but as we got older we just had more kids to look after instead of toys and food. I adore all my siblings and won't change them for the world, but I often wonder what having a real childhood is like and how it might have helped me. Looking back, I think she had a pregnancy addiction. Today I've learned that's a thing. Parents staying home. I was always alone. Also, parents helping out with homework and school projects. They can't do that if they always work 3rd shift. My projects were always notably shittier than everyone else's, and it's not like the teachers cared about how much effort I put into them. I got pretty excited to be given my own bed. Same. Slept on an old futon for about 10 years as a kid. I could feel the metal bars through the mattress. My sister had a double-sized bed, however. I only got to sleep in a double-sized bed once I moved out of my parents' place. I also slept on a futon for most of my childhood. When I went to college, I couldn't believe how amazing those crappy twin mattresses felt. Whenever one of my peers mentioned going home and how nice it felt to sleep in their own bed, I couldn't relate. Staying at someone's house who wasn't poor, like a relative or friend. Their house was also so clean, beautiful, pictures on the wall, knickknacks on the counter, and carpet you could play on because it was clean. I spent my entire teenage years hiding where I lived. Edit. I had no idea how many people felt the same way. I have no resentment towards my parents because they sacrificed so much for me and my brother. We are college grads with careers we love, not living paycheck to paycheck because of how much our parents loved us and helped us achieve. I'm like an anti-hoarder now. I don't like to own anything I don't use or need or like looking at. I throw out or donate things I don't use anymore. I hate clutter, dirty floors, and those random stacks of papers and mail that form so quickly. Too bad we couldn't have been friends as teenagers. I used to love flipping through home furniture catalogs like IKEA and fantasizing about what my dream bedroom would be, complete with framed posters, a professional study table with a desk lamp and office studs, dresses that matched the hamper and trash bin, and an actual framed bed. My family didn't really have anyone over ever because we were honestly embarrassed we didn't have all the furnishings of a proper house. A hot shower. Cold showers were always available, but when you scraped enough cash to get some diesel fuel and get the burner to kick on long enough to have a hot shower, man, absolutely nothing better. New clothes. I grew up pretty poor, no TV, no toys, but had a Sears catalog. My dad got in a serious accident when I was in 4th grade and almost lost his life. He won a small settlement from the community college he was working at, and I was able to buy new clothes for the first time in my life. Before this, all I ever had were hand-me-downs from my cousin and donation clothes from the church. Most were worn to the point of having patches on the knees. The worst part about getting new clothes for the first time is I felt terrible the whole time picking out new clothes, because I always felt like a financial burden to my parents. I remember going to Miller's Outpost and picking out typical 80s clothes, op, TNC, etc. Close bracket. It's funny how growing up poor affects my everyday choices. For better or worse, it'll never outgrow some of the feelings I had as a poor kid, and I feel for any kid who has to endure a childhood of poverty. It will affect them and their choices for the rest of their life. Edit. Thanks to everyone who understands how one can feel so self-conscious about how it feels to have less than others. Y'all are an amazing community. Stay safe out there. Honestly didn't know that pastoroni was $1 until I was a grown-ass man. I thought that was some gourmet shit. Going to the movie theater. Having my own bedroom. Hey man. I'm 32. I went from sleeping in the living room to sleeping with my girlfriend in our room. I've never had my own room yet, though I guess having a man cave is a decent alternative. Having breakfast. It's gotten to the point where I can't eat in the morning because my body is so used to waiting. Brand name cereal was for the upper class. Man. Every time I saw Reese's Puffs on top of the fridge, I knew tomorrow was gonna be a good day. My mother used to consider any kind of cereal a luxury. They only had one box a month. My mom could somehow only find a way to afford Raisin Bran. I didn't try the fancy ones like Reese's Puffs or Fruit Loops until I moved out on my own. A new winter coat. I don't remember having a new winter coat until I was probably 14 or 15. They had always been hand-me-downs from my cousins. They were usually at least 10 years old by the time I got them, and the stuffing would be all clumped up. Doritos. Or any name brand chips. Actually. Air conditioning. Sometimes we had a jacked up old window unit that would cool down my parents' room on the hottest of summer nights, and we would sleep in sleeping bags on their floor. Sometimes it was broke. Sometimes it just wasn't hot enough to justify running it. Never during the day though. That's what the library was for. I remember in 8th grade on my birthday at school, one of my teachers asked me what gifts I had received. He asked in front of the whole class. I excitedly shared that I would be getting contact lenses. My parents let me choose one thing that I wanted, and I desperately wanted to stop wearing the broken glasses I had, which I usually didn't wear. One of the boys in class made a comment like, "Contacts aren't a present?" ? And my teacher had to explain to him again in front of everyone that for some families they were too expensive not to be a luxury. After that experience I worked 2 and 3 jobs in high school so I could buy myself and my brothers the things we needed. The first thing I bought with my money from my first job as a hostess at a diner was a queen size bed because my twin mattress was about 20 years old, and at 15 I was having back problems and issues with rusted springs poking me. For my school's Spirit Week, they had a thrift shop day where most everyone dressed in old ratty clothes or the weirdest stuff they could find in a thrift shop. Needless to say, as someone whose clothes were 80% secondhand, it was an eye-opener. Oh my gosh, that's super short-sighted on the school's side. You underestimate the class cruelty of the US education system. For example, lunch debt. Taking a bath. I mean, we bathed every night, but it was by heating up water that we would go to the park down the road to get in 5-gallon jugs and filling up a mop bucket to wash off with. Staying over at a friend or family member's house and getting to take an actual shower was amazing though. Being able to get candy at a store, new school supplies, brand name food. Going out to eat at a restaurant. My parents won $1,500 at a lottery once. They bought a new sofa to replace a 25-year sofa, a phone, and we went to a mid-range steakhouse. First restaurant for whole family. I was 20. Until the age of 12, I thought that you weren't allowed to buy things that weren't on sale. My mom only bought things when they were on sale and or she had a coupon. So I thought that the non-sale items weren't being sold. Unfortunately, my mom never understood that you are not saving money unless you would have brought it or something similar, i.e. food, with or without a sale. Our family ended up collecting a lot of stuff because it was cheap and would come in handy one day. Electricity lol. Thanks for paying the bill this month, Mom. Renting a movie from Blockbuster the first weekend of every month. My brother and I got to pick any movie we wanted as long as it wasn't rated R. On really special nights, we even got a 2-liter bottle of Sprite for the family to share. We're ordering pizza for dinner, And it isn't just plain mozzarella this time. Apostrophe. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video. Leave your thoughts in the comments below.